morning, League fans. My name is Steve Mascord, and I'm coming to you from York today. Super League kicked off last night, if you've been living under a rock, and it was perhaps the biggest upset in the history of the competition, with York Knights in their very, very first Super League game, beating the treble winners from last year, Hull KR, by 19 points to 18. Unbelievable result. It was a 76th minute drop goal from Hingano that sealed that result. And we're going to talk to Hingano later in the hour. So I don't think he did any, I'm sure he didn't do any other press actually. He might have done some TV at full time. So looking forward to that. We're going to talk to John Davidson about that result. And also, just to throw forward a little bit to the sold-out game at the Halliwell Jones Stadium tonight, we're going to have a little bit of a chat also to Jackson Hastings, this star signing of the St Helens side. Now, there is, again, NRL pre-season going on while this program airs, so we're going to keep you up to date with that. There's an early game, the Raiders and the Storm. We should play that song by the Doors, The Raiders and the Storm, and we might actually play that song during the hour. And then that was earlier today, and then we've got North Queensland up against the Panthers during the course of this show. So we'll bring you score updates in between some of those people we've promised that you can hear from. So the news this morning is all about Mikey Lewis, I would say, also in relation to the Southern Hemisphere, because he's due to play in the World Club Challenge in 6 days, and he tripped Liam Harris and was sent to the sin bin, probably costing his team the game. And the question is whether the league take any further action. Having said that, I believe his disciplinary record would indicate that he'd likely just get demerit points and he wouldn't actually be suspended, but you never know what's going to happen with the match review committee. So that is the big story. There's a couple of Hull KR guys last night involved in high tackles in the first half too. Elliot Minchella, he was involved in one, and so was Reece Martin, whose dead-eye goal kicking is very important to the Robins. So we'll keep an eye on that. Injury-wise, Dean Hadley had a rib injury, and he pulled out in the warm-up. They can scarcely afford to be without him, and he is in doubt for the World Club Challenge. Tom Amone with the pre-season hand injury, he's definitely going to be back. Willie Peters said the Broncos would have been watching in London, and their supporters anyway would be suggesting that the job's not going to be as hard as they thought, because because of that result, an amazing result. And I'll leave it to tell you, I got back to the hotel here from after filing, and sitting talking to two somewhat jolly Hull KR fans was Clint Goodchild, the owner of York Knights. He said is his first beer, and he was, I want to say, he's quite emotional. He recounted a couple of things about what the result meant to long-term rugby league fans here in York, and the things they go through in their own lives. And it really, as I said, as I said to him, sometimes we get caught up in the routine of our involvement in something, and rugby league in this case. We get involved in the nuts and bolts, and when we kind of forget the way it's a marker in people's lives. We put people in the same uniforms that they wore 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and we can't help but remind people of the past, and also connect the present to the past in the minds of many thousands of people. And that an event like tonight, where a team wins their very first game in Super League against the champions, that's going to be a marker in a lot of people's lives. So it was quite special to be there. And I'm so lucky to have also been at the Dolphins' first game where they beat the Roosters. But even though that's a kind of it got more eyeballs on it, this is a bigger upset. In fact, I think Peter Smith from the Yorkshire Evening or Yorkshire Post said that it was the biggest upset in Super League history. Let's go through some rugby league birthdays. Ken Wolfe, an early, or not early, but early 1980s player for the Penrith Panthers. Also played for Parramatta. 68 today. Joe Thomas, a great hooker from Western Suburbs, and he did have a stint at the Steelers and played at Canterbury and Souths. 62 today. Leo Dinova, London Broncos, great. Also Newcastle and Western Suburbs halfback, and played a lot of halfback in the premiership year that the Knights had in 97. He's 52 today. Shannon Nevin, the outside back from Manly and Balmain. He's 50 today, so that's a big one, 50. Paul Deacon, happy birthday, especially to you, Shannon, because it's a landmark birthday, 50. I can still remember when I turned 50. Paul Deacon, the halfback for Great Britain and England, is 47 today. Sean Rudder, speaking of, he's a bit like the King and I, or Kevin Walters. That's what they used to say about Kevin Walters, and playing alongside, or actually Alan Langer, playing alongside Wally Lewis, the King and I, and obviously Sean Rudder played alongside Andrew Johns for many years. Also had a run at Castleford and at UTC in France. 47 today. Happy birthday, Sean. Daniel Irvine, the hooker, who looks a lot like Paul Crawley, 44 today. We've got quite a few today that we kind of know of, or I know of. Let's face it, you would know different players, no doubt. Frank Paul Nuasala, Frank Paul the Wrecking Ball. He's 39 today. Eddie Pettyborn, who played for the USA famously and also for Samoa, is 38 today. They're getting younger and younger and younger. We'll pick one more out here. Adam Clydesdale, Newcastle, Canberra and Cronulla, 33 today. Happy birthday, Adam. After the break, we'll bring you those score updates, and then after that, we'll hear from John Davidson in the aftermath of that seismic win last night by York over Hull KR. Welcome back to Good Morning League fans on rugbyleague.com, where too much league is never enough. And we've got some around the grounds action for you now. There was an earlier match in the NRL preseason challenge. It was at Seaford Oval, which I remember going to back in 82, the Raiders' first year. I'm very old. And it was a 32-6 win to the Raiders over the Storm. The Raiders and the Storm. And it's... let's go through the details, Michael Asamoah with tries in the 18th and 35th minutes. And then Saxon Innes in the 44th. Sione Finau in the 50th. Jalen Afamasanga in the 53rd. Sebastian Chris in the 67th. And Sione Finau again. So he got two in the 77th minute. Conversion attempts, it was only 2 from 7. So it could have been a much bigger scoreline. And so one conversion each to Ethan Alaya and Chevy Stewart, and they also had a bloke in the sin bin, so they were down to 12 for 10 minutes, still won easily over the Storm, whose only try was scored in the 72nd minute by Liam Williams, converted by Amazia Murga. Halftime was 8-0 to the Raiders. So repeating that full-time score at Seaford Oval, bringing back lots of memories. 32-6, it was Canberra over Melbourne. Now, in the game currently in progress, it is the Cowboys who hold a 4-0 lead over the Penny Panthers with just a few minutes gone, 5 or 6 minutes gone. Braden Burns a try in the 2nd minute. So there we go, 4-0. The Cowboys over the Panthers, that's a progress score, and a full-time score for the Raiders, beating the Storm 32-6. After the break, we'll return here to York and have a chat to John Davidson about that unbelievable, staggering, seismic result, York beating Hull KR on the opening night of Super League. So let's kick off our review of that amazing game of rugby league. I was lucky enough to see the Dolphins beat the Roosters in their first ever game. I didn't think I'd ever see something like that twice. And it was probably an even bigger upset, really, wasn't it, than that?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, Ulkar were treble winners last year.
John Davidson, by the way.
Yes, best team in the comp. They requested an easier game in the sense that face one of the promoted teams, either York, Bradford or Toulouse, as a warm-up for the World Cup Challenge, and it just didn't go their way tonight. Injury, players sin bend, they sort of threw away the lead. It's history made. It was a sensational night.
Mikey Lewis with the brain explosion, tripping Liam Harris. That was a turning point.
It was a massive turning point. I mean, it was completely unnecessary, and the momentum shifted back in the way of York. And look, it was a great atmosphere. York's been, they've been down in the dumps in the past. I had a look through the history. They've never won a Challenge Cup. They've never won a top flight league. But it's just a fantastic story, them coming to Super League, and such a great performance in their first ever game.
What was most people? I mean, how would you describe it? I was going in and out, inside, outside. All the time. What was it like to be here? Like, how would you describe the sort of atmosphere? It's the first night of Super League, of course, and also one of the biggest upsets in Super League history.
Yeah, it is. It is, without a doubt. I mean, it's been a fantastic atmosphere. I mean, it's been raining for what seems like months, and it's cold. But look, there was a great warmth around the stadium. The stadium was full. York were, from minute 1 to 80, were really, really credible. Their defence was amazing. They frustrated whole KR. They used the ball when they could, and obviously it was a really fast-paced game, obviously faster than a lot of the games we saw last year with the change in ruck speed. It was a great advert, as you said earlier, Steve, a great advert for expansion in what is a really pivotal year for Super League.
Yeah, like I guess we've both been critical of the decision to expand the comp in the circumstances. You've got to say that after night one, it's a strike one up for Nigel Wood and everyone else involved with that decision.
Yes, it is. Look, I mean, we'll hold our judgment until round 27. But look, it couldn't have got off to a better start. I mean, in any sport, when do you see the defending champions beat by one of the promoted teams? Look, there was quite a few championship players in that York team against England internationals, against New Zealand internationals, Man of Steel winners in Michael Lewis. It was just, great drama, great sporting history, and hopefully there's a lot more of it to come this season in Super League.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, mate.
Thank you.
So joining us now, the man of the moment, the man who kicked the winning point out of Hingano. I mean, you must be pinching yourself at what just occurred.
Look, to be honest, I wouldn't say that we didn't look at it as a far-fetched game. I've said it earlier to the boys, like, we put in just as much work as every other team does, and I'm sure they've put in just as hard work as well. So, again, it wasn't far-fetched. We knew that it was there, and we had a good opportunity, and we took it tonight.
What was the turning point from your perspective?
I think when Mikey Lewis went in the sin bin, that gave us a extra hard. They gave us an extra boost in there, and then I think we scored one, and then we felt the momentum and then the roll on. And then I think just some couple of defense efforts, like just some lads just shooting out. When you see efforts like that from the boys, especially when they're in the washer, you want to do extra for the lads. So I think it was that. And
tell us about the field goal. Were you always going to get it, or were you plan B?
I don't even know where I fit in the plan. At training, I just watch Liam slot the field goals. Every now and then I'll go down on his inside. He probably only passes to me once, but then once counted tonight. So, we're very pleased with it.
Were you close to the incident between him and Mikey? Did you get a good view of it?
No, I seen it obviously on the replay, but yeah.
And obviously when he went off, did you all lift? Did you talk a bit about the opportunity that presented?
Yeah, quite obvious. When any teams comes down to 12 men, and you're just an arm length of scoring 2 tries with a lot of time left, that definitely gave us a lot of boost. And
Matt, I know you want to get to your family, you want to have a drink, but can you quickly just tell me about, some of the teams have gone up this year. There's players there who've been along for the journey, and you're one of those players. So what does that mean to you to have been along for the journey here, and to be here for promotion, and to be here for a night like tonight?
It just makes it just makes the game mean more. I think when I was riding York in the championship, and then to get this promotion now, just makes the game mean a lot more to us. You never want to be a team, a number filler coming up Super League, so we knew that we had to kind of just put us on the map, just put us out there that, we're a team that works just as hard as you guys, and when we turn up, we'll put it on you guys too.
2 questions at once. As a club, they wanted a certain game before they played Brisbane, and they wanted a newer team. And it was asked in the press conference, your coach, whether that had been a motivating factor. That's question one. And second question is, what memory will you take away from tonight? What picture in your mind will you take away from the win tonight?
I didn't know that they got to pick who they play, but good on them. I guess we needed that too to see where we're really at. And I think for me, just obvious one, the memory tonight, my first ever drop goal.
Have you had a few attempts before and missed?
Never. Again, I've always been plan G. I've never been second option, so just to see that pull off. Our own photographer Andy got some good shots of me too, so I'll get those sent to me, and definitely be one to remember.
How many years is that? How many years have you been playing footy and you haven't first drop goal?
I've been playing, so I'm 28 now, so I've been playing footy 11 years.
Oh, wow.
And it took me 11 years to finally, kind of get the dream.
That's a great memory. Thanks, mate. Thanks for talking to us.
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
Welcome back to Good Morning League fans, and in today's NRL pre-season, earlier at Seaford Oval, it was Canberra 32, Melbourne 6, and would you believe in the second game, it's a 22-0 lead at BP Prince Stadium in Mackay to North Queensland over Penrith. Tries so far to Braden Burns, Jackson Purdue, Scott Drinkwater. Braden Burns got another one in the 14th minute. 3 goals from 4 attempts to Scott Drinkwater. So just heading towards half-time, 22-0 North Queensland are leading the Penrith Panthers in a bit of a shock score.
Okay, we are back at the National Football Museum. I've had a drink now. I'm relaxed. And I'm welcoming back to England Jackson Hastings. Jackson, what's it like to be back?
It just feels natural. Like it feels like I've never left. I literally live a stone throw away from where we are right now. I've got a baby now. That's probably the only main difference. So got a little girl, 9 months old. So as I said, it feels familiar. It feels like I've been here the whole time.
Did you always think that you'd end up back here?
Eventually, probably a bit earlier than what I anticipated. But at the end of the day, mate, I just trust in the timing of what's in front of me. You know what I mean? It was a perfect opportunity to bring my daughter back here. She's obviously half English. I'm half English. Just meeting her English heritage inside of the family was part of it, and then to play for a club like this is part of it as well. So there's no perfect timing in life. It's just whatever happens, and I'm here now and I'm really excited about it.
Did you always think that it was going, did you have it in the back of your head, maybe a big chunk of last year you'd end up back here, or did it happen very quickly?
Well, the way it was going, I didn't know what was going to happen in my life, let alone on the rugby field, but it certainly happened really quick. It happened within about a month, so had to sort my house out, had to sort a million things out, and then obviously worry about the footy and get over here second. But as I said, it all happened very quickly, and the club have been brilliant, helped me out a lot, so it made it easy.
I'm sure everyone's been asking about your relationship with your coach. How central is that to your decision?
You know what, if Wello was still the coach, I would have still come, the magnitude of the club, but having roles here obviously helps, someone that knows me, understands me, has brought the best out of me in the past, and someone that cares about me as a person, not only a footy player. So it made a lot of sense to work under him again. My style of play suits the way he coaches, vice versa. So it could have been anyone coaching. It wasn't a deal breaker, but certainly made my decision easier mentally for sure.
Is there anything you kind of did or learned on your time back home that you can put to practice here?
The media still hate me. I learned that. Still number one target. That was always good. But I just learned that what I do well works, and it holds up against the best players in the world as such in Australia, or it works as some of the best players in the world, in my opinion, here in Super League too. I back this competition. I back the players in this competition, and I want to see the sport in this country thrive too. So my style of play works in both countries. That's what I found out. I believe in myself. I don't need people to pat me on the back and say I played well or played bad. I differentiate between the two, regardless. Depending on the week. So my game holds up, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah, you're your own judge. You mean kind of, yeah. And I'll follow up both of those things. First, I'll ask you about the game in England second. But the first is, where was it? How was it misrepresented? What do you feel that was you? What do you feel in the reporting that wasn't fair or accurate?
Well, you'd have to show me the story. There's 100 of them, but I don't mind being written about if there's truth to it, for sure. No one's perfect, right?
Yeah.
And I'm far from perfect. I'm probably the least perfect person in this room. I've made so many mistakes, it's not even funny, but being lied about's a whole different kettle of fish, and when it starts affecting your family members, and now I've got a daughter that has the same name as me, and to have her name tarnished, that carries a bit more weight, and I don't like the fact that her last name's been disrespected. So if there's truth to it, by all means report it, but if you're going to lie and lie on someone's name, then that's a bit disappointing, but I can't control the narrative. I just, as I said, just wear it with a badge of honour and just roll with the punches, man. I've done it since I was about 15 years old, so nothing's changed in that department.
I'd be saying this to you whether we were recording an interview or not. The way I read it back here is that you were playing well in the lower grades and you weren't getting a go. That wasn't disrespectful to you. That was giving you a rap. That's the way I read it back here.
So you saw the good stuff. I just go past the good stuff. I just go straight for the bad stuff. But look, I played the first year I was at Newcastle, some of the best footy I ever played. I would argue it was as good as my man of steel year. So, as I said, I'm confident in my ability. I know what I can do on a rugby field. Whether a journo says I'm good or not, I believe in myself, which is the most important part. But there are some good ones out there, don't worry. There are some ones that gave me a rap, I know, but you brush past them because you want to keep your feet on the ground always. So the bad ones usually tend to do that. So it's always good reading them sometimes. It gives you a little bit of motivation that you possibly never had.
Okay, and you've come back to an interesting time in the history of the game here with the NRL kind of sort of sniffing around but not really jumping. And going to 14 teams up from 12. Yeah. So it's a really intriguing time of the game's history here, isn't it? So what would you like to see happen?
Well, just stick to what we're doing here. Like, we've gone to 14 teams, stick to that and just back the clubs. Obviously London are going to be massive with Lockie down there and JD coaching, and some of the players they've signed already in championship. So they're going to grow. We need a strong London. And the players that are in this competition just need to back this competition and be loud about the ambitions of this competition and where we want to take it. So all the blokes that have played in the NRL that have ideas, go to the Super League with ideas if you've got them and actually help this game grow. Let's not stay stagnant and be the whipping boys for the NRL and just be hammered the whole time. Let's be proud of our product here in England. And then on the world stage, when we get to play for England or whoever gets to represent our country, let's start really sticking it to the big nations and start winning stuff. That'll be unreal. And if I'm a part of that, great. But I'll definitely be a spokesperson for it, no doubt.
Well, mate, you've just interrupted or preempted my next question. New national coach, clean slate. So it sounds like you're going to put your hand up.
Yeah, hand's always been up. I can't pull it down, mate. It's stuck up there. But I'd love to. When I got to represent Great Britain in 2019, arguably the highlight of my life besides having my daughter. So I learned a lot about where my family's from here in England. I've learned a lot about my culture and my heritage, and I'm extremely proud of that. And I take a lot of pride in being English, essentially. And I'd love the chance to wear them colours again and wear that badge on my chest and sing the anthem and have a crack at bringing the World Cup here. And I'd love the fact to be playing for a team that no one would give a chance as well. I love being an underdog, and that would suit me down to the ground. So, yeah, I'll definitely put my hand up.